Joining us now on the Picks for Polls podcast, he's coming to us from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've got Bo Spearman in the house, plays football at Austin Peay University. He's a linebacker there. You can check him out on Twitter at Bo Spearman 3. He's going to be talking to us about his college experience, preparation for the 2025 draft. Bo, how's it going? Thanks so much for hopping on this thing.
It's going amazing. It's a dream to be here.
All right, so let's just get into this thing, man, because, you started off playing at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Then you went over to Austin Peay University. I mean, what specifically made both schools such great fits for you? And was there a part of you that kind of said, hey, like Chattanooga is sort of where I want to start my college career at?
Yes, sir. So early on, coming out of high school, I was a 3-star prospect, and I ended up hurting my knee towards the beginning of my season, and a couple of teams fell off. But Chattanooga was still riding me very hard. They would come to like all my practices, all my games. So it was like it kind of felt home just going there. And when I went on my visit, it's like an hour and 45 from my house, so it's not too far. So it just felt like home. That's why I went to Chattanooga. I decided to leave and go to Austin Peay. I really just wanted to play my last year with my brother. My brother was playing there at Austin Peay, and he transferred out.
Cool. So it was kind of like a little bit of a hometown thing for you in
Yes,
both
sir. Yes, sir.
cases, right? Because you're like, all right, Chattanooga's like less than 2 hours from me, but then brother's playing over at Austin Peay. I mean, I will be fully honest with you. I got a few brothers myself. I coach high school football too, so it's kind of a big thing for me in terms of like seeing, the impact that of like, hey, there's something different about like playing with your siblings, even though they are the same people that you probably grew up with, like fighting at home and stuff and just going out mass competing, but I gotta ask you, because you mentioned your brother, I mean, was there always fierce competition at home then? You guys were always going at it for something? Like, what was the dynamic between you guys like on the football field, but then also off the football field?
Well, my brother, when I say my brother, I don't mean like my blood brother. He's more like we grew up together. So, but our competition made it to where it felt like we were brothers because we always were driving to push each other harder and make each other, make each other better. So,
Yeah, that is really good to know. I mean, let's talk your daily routine here. How's prep for this next big step going? I know you were at the CGS All-Star game. You had a chance to speak to a couple teams there. What's your daily routine like right now? Because I don't think, like, unless you go through this yourself or unless you've seen this up front, like, there's so much that goes into it that there's like a million different moving pieces. But what's the daily routine like? How's the prep for the draft going?
my daily routine right now looks like I wake up like 6 a.m. I head to the training facility like 7, and I'm doing 2-a-days every single day right now, where I'm like doing speed work in the morning and then weightlifting in the afternoon. So I've been doing that for about. I started working out in Tampa, and I just got to Chattanooga like 2 weeks ago, and I just started working out here. But I've been doing 2-a-days for about a month now.
So there is a lot that goes into that 2-a-days, right? Because everyone's
hmm
going to sit there and be like, all right, well, as a football player, the only thing you have to do is do your speed training, do your weight training, all that stuff. But to be able to do those 2-a-days effectively, I'm sure you have to have a really balanced diet. I mean, take us inside. What is your daily diet like? What are you eating every single day for breakfast, lunch, dinner? It's kind of bulk up, get whatever it is that you need so you can keep progressing over the course of the next few weeks.
Yes, sir. Well, my approach is probably different than others. I'm more of a dirty eater. Like I can eat dirty and I'll still be able to function off of it. I guess I've been doing it so long, so I'm not really a healthy eater, but I have been trying to like eat more broccoli. Try to do like a carnivore diet because that helps you like gain weight, but still not get fat or something like that. So I've been trying to eat more carnivore diets, drink a lot of water. Got to stay hydrated for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think drinking the water is probably the biggest thing, which probably to me explains why right now I've got like 3 or 4 jugs of water in this room that I'm recording. But let's talk linebacker, right? Like, there's a mental side of the game that is so important when playing this position. I mean, how do you work on the mental side of the game through just reps, through positive self-talk, through motivation, through lessons learned from experiences that you've had in the past, and then just conversations with coaches in general?
Well, the way I do it, I watch a ton of film. I actually don't even have a TV at my house. All I have is my computer and my projector. So I watch a ton of film, and when you're able to see it over and over again, you're more confident, and you can just go out there and play fast. So I try to just watch a lot of film and study my opponents. Like our last season, we did like a bunch of scout reports, and we'll all get like a player, and we'll have our own player. We got to scout. We got to find out everything he did, all his stats from last year, all his stats from this year, everything about him, and then we got to report it to the team. So just basically knowing your opponent.
And so, talk about that entire process. Like, when you are looking for your opponent, what specifically are you looking for when you're kind of studying them? Is it their start stop stance? Is it maybe the way that a certain running back lines up? Is it maybe a certain signal that you notice, like a
Mhm.
offensive lineman tapping another offensive lineman's like hip or something? I mean, take us inside that whole thing.
Well, at this level we're playing it now, most of the guys are like big, so they're not gonna be able to just pull around and if they're like on the line. So if they're sitting back a little bit, you can tell when they're gonna pull, and you can just like as a linebacker, you always talk to just follow the pull. The pull gonna take you to the ball. But mostly what I've been noticing as I've been playing at this level, the the ball always follows the wild tight end. Like the guards may lie to you, but the wild tight end never lies. So if you just keep your eyes on the right thing, you'll be in the right spot.
Yeah, and for a lot of our listeners that may not know, like the Y off tight end is basically a tight end that's like 1 to 2 yards off the line of scrimmage that can be used, in a lot of different ways depending on what type of schemes the offense is running. But I'm curious to know. So as a linebacker, you're going to be asked to do a lot of different things. Sometimes you may be up on the line, going ahead, shedding a block. Sometimes you may have to go ahead and drop back into coverage. But what are your strengths as a player in terms of anything and everything that you bring to the table?
I think my strength is just being a football player. Like I can do it all. I think I'm best when I'm out on the edge. Well, not at the edge. Like I'm a nickel type linebacker where I can get my hands on a slot and like drop into coverage or something like that. I think that's where I'm best. Or when I'm like trailing the receiver, like just running under him while the safety on top. I think that's when I'm at my best, when I can get my hands on those smaller guys.
Is there I mean, would you describe yourself as like an incredibly physical player who in that spot is not afraid to go ahead and like bring down the hammer on an opposing slot receiver or
Oh, for sure,
running
for
back?
sure. For sure. It's in my film a couple of times. Sometimes I'll just drop out there and just knock them down. Don't even cover them. I just like to contact them. Once you knock them off their route, it helps everybody out. If you're for your safeties, everything, it knocks the timing off.
So let's talk about that timing specifically because I think it's so interesting. Where like with football, the defense is obviously one whole unit, but then like the D line has to do their part for you to be able to do your part effectively, and then you have to go ahead and do your part to allow the secondary to kind of do their thing. But in terms of schemes and coverages, right? Like, give me your favorite coverage to kind of go ahead and play, and then give me what defense do you see yourself fitting into at the next level? Like a base 3-4, a 4-3, maybe even a 4-2-5. Like, where do you see yourself fitting in?
I think I play the best in 4-3 over. I think I play the best in a 4-3 over front because I can get my linemen going, where I can get my D linemen 0, 5, 3, 5, and I can have them where I need to go, and I can get them, and I'm fitting front side running back. So I'm basically being a running back myself. So I like it when I'm able to just shoot the gaps, basically.
Yeah, I mean that is so important, and the big thing is this, right? As you mentioned, all those numbers like the 2-5 techniques, the zero technique, who's going to be head up on the center, and then that 3 tech that's going to be on the outside shoulder, the guard. I mean, there's this unsaid rule, sort of, for defensive linemen and linebackers, is that no two guys should be in the exact same spot or
Oh
the
no,
exact same gap at the same time. Because you get
because it'll
that, then
split
there's a
you.
gap open. Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I would just repeat what you said. It'll split you if one person's in the wrong spot in a defense like that. It'll split you very fast.
I mean, so okay, now I have to ask you this. Is it frustrating, like as a linebacker, when you and like a defensive lineman end up in the same spot and there's like some sort of play that happens? Because like there's going to be great plays in football, and then there's going to be plays where you're like, yeah, I wish I had it back. But how do you rebound from some of those like not so ideal plays?
Oh, you just got to keep playing the next play because we know everything not going to go the way we wanted to. You just got to keep playing the whole 60 minutes. Um, I think, yeah, just play the whole 60 minutes. But really, I wouldn't be mad at my D lineman because it's my fault because it's my job to make him right, just like it's my safety job to make me right. So I wouldn't be mad at my D lineman. It's like I got to get to the right spot.
All right, so now I have to go ahead and ask you this because
Hmm.
we've kind of been talking here for the last like 2-ish minutes about how football, right? Like all 11 guys on defense are going to have to go and work together. Do you have certain teammates at whether it was Chattanooga or Austin Peay that you're like, all right, well, I'm definitely going to like you basically, I'm asking, I think, developed a super close relationship with them that you're
Hmm.
like, whatever it is, we're always going to be in contact with each other,
For sure.
specifically because you guys got so close together.
Yes, sir. I would say that would have to be on my Austin P team. Dion Hunter, he was number 44, a linebacker for us. He transferred in from Cincinnati, the University of Cincinnati. So yeah, he was a extremely good linebacker. So me and him would complement each other well because he's the punch and I'm the speed, I guess.
That is definitely good to know. I mean, it's so interesting how like you could, think that like, all right, there's someone at like one school and one program I'm super close to, and then you kind of go your separate ways, but you still keep in touch with each other, and then you're the next place that you end up at, evidently you find someone there that you develop this relationship with. Because there's a lot of I feel like uncertainty sometimes when
Mhm.
it comes to transferring from, one school to another because you do your homework, obviously, like guys do their homework when they hit the portal, but you never really know like what that experience is going to be like.
Mhm.
So moving on from that, what do you think teams are going to get when they bring you into the building, and what do you think you are going to bring to the table from day one?
Teams are going to get from me a guy that loves football, a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to just be on the field on the team. I'll hand out water if I have to. But I expect to come in and play like a lot of special teams. Like that's what all rookies do. And I love special teams. I'm a special team heavy guy. So yeah, I don't mind at all.
Do you have a preferred position that you'd want to play on special teams, or is that just
Yeah.
something where it's like, hey, wherever it is that you guys tell me to go, I'm going to go?
Wherever they tell me to go, I'm gonna line up. I'll be the kicker if they want me to.
Did you play special teams in high school as well, or
Yes,
were you
sir.
solely like offense, defense? Okay, so then,
Yes,
I
sir. I've
mean,
been playing special teams my whole life. I was actually the punter in high school.
okay, so you had a punter in high school. Yeah, that is, see, special teams in high school gets so kind of like funky, I guess, because you'll have
Yeah.
someone that's like 1 year for me, right? My starting running back was my punter, and I was coordinating the special teams, and I'm like, I really don't like the idea of my linebacker and my running back being my punter too, but whatever. If you have to go 3 ways, right? You go 3 ways. Okay, so here is what I need to ask you. You're a linebacker. Chicago is a city that is known for great linebackers. I mean, what do you know about the Bears franchise? And then what do you know about Chicago in general?
I love Chicago. I think Chicago is a beautiful city. I've never been there myself, but I've seen like 1,000 pictures online. I never really left the southeast much because I've been busy with school and stuff. But I think Chicago is a beautiful place. They have guys like you got Brian Urlacher. You got I can't think of his name who just left.
Roquan Smith by chance?
Roquan Smith. Yeah, Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith. That's why I liked him out of my game after I like Roquan a lot.
So, what specifically about Roquan do you like to model your game after? Because I was looking up some of your stuff. The sideline to sideline speed is definitely there. I mean, the versatility for you in terms of being able to rush the passer, but then also go ahead, drop back in coverage, roam the middle of the field is there as well. But, what makes you want to model your game after Roquan?
Well, me and Roquan are similar in size. He's about 6'1", 230. I'm about the same. So I like to try to model my game out to guys like him and Quentin Williams, like not Quentin Williams. What's his brother name that plays with the Jets? Because they're like guys that's my size, my around my speed. So I like to just see how they flow to the ball the way a linebacker our size is supposed to.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense because it's like I think when you get like those linebackers like yourself that can just roam sideline to sideline. I mean, there's instances where I'm like, wow, you guys literally go ahead and shoot out of a. It seems like you guys are kind of shooting out of a cannon when it comes to the plays that you guys are making.
Yes, sir.
So, I need to know this, right? Like you mentioned Roquan Smith, right? Do you have a favorite NFL player currently that you kind of model your game after, or someone that you maybe like looked up to as you were growing up?
Oh, well, I definitely have a person I looked up to growing up. Actually, both of my uncles they played in NFL. My uncle on my mom's side was he was recently just fired from being the Bengals defensive line coach. His name Marion Hobby. And my uncle on my dad's side, he played with the Bengals at linebacker. So yeah, I kind of looked up to my uncle a lot because we played the same position. Both of them were DNs or linebackers.
So that sort of family connection there, right? Do you rely on them for advice at all in terms of like, hey, this is what you need to go ahead and do for the next level? And are they kind of helping you get ready with everything?
Oh, for sure, definitely. It's definitely nice to have somebody like that in your corner that's been there before, so they can tell you what they're seeing.
So, like, give me, I mean, some advice that maybe your uncles have given you over the last couple months about, like, this is how you're going to want to approach everything.
So basically, because about the pro day, it's like just if you run your 40 real fast, then that's what matters. So basically, just keeping your head on straight and not letting the training get in your head because sometimes your training numbers might not look how your pro day numbers will look. So don't let that discourage you or something like that.
Yeah, and that is such a valuable thing, too, because it's like sometimes, the work that you put in the weight room, like,
Mhm,
it evidently should translate to the football field, right? It doesn't necessarily need to translate to a pro day because honestly, like, I mean, you know this better than I do, right? Like, football is the type of game where once the pads come on, it's completely different. And like,
for sure.
what you do in your helmet and just like your shoulder pad and your shorts kind of goes out the window. I mean, that part, I don't mean to diminish it. It is important, but
Mhm,
once the helmet and pads go on, it's a completely different game.
for sure.
So, I mean, I gotta know, right? Like, do you, so what do you like to do outside of football, right? Because I know you said you're so focused on football, but like, what should people know about you outside of the football field and things that you like to do when you're not on the gridiron?
I'm a extremely fun guy. I like to. I've never been a video game type of guy. But when I was young, me and my friends, like we started playing. Like we're like 12 years old. They'll come over. We'll play spades all day. We just play cards all day, like some old guys. So that's like the things I like to do with my family. I like to sit around play cards. I love fishing and just working out.
Is there like a record for the biggest fish that you kind of go ahead and caught? Like, do you have one that you're like, dang, I'm so proud that I caught that? Or is it
Mhm.
just something where you're like, you're going to go out there, you're just going to have a good time with it?
Yeah, I just go out there and have a good time. I'm not too serious with it.
What?
I,
Wait, I'm
I,
so, oh,
what'd you
go ahead.
say?
Go ahead. You can go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I'm not that serious with it yet. I gotta wait till I get me a boat.
How'd you get into fishing? Was that something that it was like you just got into it because you were naturally curious, or was it
Mhm.
kind of like, hey, I'm going to someone in my family was doing it, so I'm going to do it.
See, my uncle on my mom's side, where I told you, Marion Hobby, he used to coach at Clemson, and he had like a lake house out there. So he'll wake up every day and go out there at 6 a.m. and start fishing. At first, I was like everybody else, scared to touch the fish, scared to touch the worm. But after a while, you realize that it's not gonna hurt you. It's kind of fun.
That is definitely really cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think like living up here in the north, the part of the problem is that it's like 6 months out of the year. Well, not really 6 months, but like 4 to 6 months out of the year, it's really isn't like fishing weather, so it's very tough to go ahead and do it. But I mean, it's an activity I've never done, but I think that after having some more conversation with you, you're probably going to try and make me change my mind and be like, nope, you
Oh,
need
for
to
sure.
try this.
Oh, for sure. I'm telling you, if you go pay for a charter trip, it'll change your whole mind. You'll be like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's definitely something that I've always wanted to go ahead and do. So, you've been playing football for a long time, right? Like, you played in
Mhm.
high school, obviously. You played at two different colleges. Do you have a favorite football memory that, is always going to be ingrained in your mind from maybe your high school or college days, and maybe even your youth football days if you did play youth football?
I would say my greatest memory from my high school days would be my spring game of my senior, going to my senior year. I think that was one of the best games I've ever played, and I was just so proud of myself because it was like a lot of it was like a lot of colleges that came to see me, and I showed out extremely well, and I received a bunch of phone calls that night, and it just changed the way I looked at things. Because at first I was like kind of like nervous about it. I didn't think I was gonna make. I didn't have any offers before my senior year, before that game, and after that it kind of took off for me. So that was like the proudest I've been in my career.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite college memory at all, or is it kind of just like, hey, I'm going to stick to that one high school memory of the spring game?
Favorite college memories. Okay, I got it. I do got it. My favorite college memory would have to be when I was at Chattanooga my freshman year. Western. We played West Kentucky, and his name was Bryce Nunley. He ran back a kick return back at the last second of the game, but they called it back. But he ran it back and had us all hyped for a second. We won the game. We thought we won the game and everything. That's probably one of my best memories.
Yeah, I think I remember that play. It was one of those where it's like things went like the whole stadium I felt like was going crazy. But throughout your time, right? Because like you're gonna play different types of players at Austin Peay, you're gonna play different types of players at Chattanooga, and then when you do evidently get to the next level, right, you're gonna be playing different sorts of competition week in and week out. But like, talk about maybe the differences in competition that you played at for both schools in college. Like, was it harder to play, one set of opponents compared to the other, or did everything sort of seem the same?
I think everything seemed the same. I think people have a misconception about the FCS that it's like the players aren't as good, but actually, I think the players in the FCS are just as good. Only difference is like up front, you know. So I think it's been the same. It's been hard all the way around. There's some great athletes from both teams I played for.
Were you like the ultra competitive player in college practices as well, in terms of like whenever the helmet and pads would go on, you would just kind of be like, all right, let's go and let's get after it? Like, do you see
Oh,
yourself
for sure.
being a vocal leader on the team, or are you more so of just a like laid back type guy?
I think it's whatever the mood calls for. If the mood calls for me to be the guy that takes over, then I'll do that. But if I could be laid back, then I'll do that too. But it's whatever the mood called for. I have been a super competitive guy. Like I used to make the scout team. I used to be on scout team my freshman year, making them work for real. We had guys like Cole Strange at Chattanooga and McClendon Curtis. So I got a lot of great work from them because they were like, Cole Strange was a first round draft pick, and McClendon Curtis currently plays in the XFL right now. So it was like it was a lot of good competition, NFL competition coming from both schools.
Do you keep in touch with Cole at all? Like, do you guys chat back and forth, or I mean, have you kind of kept that connection going? I mean, so I'm sure he's gonna have some great pointers for you.
Well, I haven't talked to Cole much because he's during the season and everything, but I haven't talked to him much. But I've seen him like working out in Chattanooga because he comes back up here and works out too. And we also me and him and McClendon Curtis train with the same trainer.
So what's the training routine like? Because I know you mentioned that you do the two a days, right? You're doing
Mhm.
weightlifting plus the strength or the speed and the conditioning training and all that. But maybe take us into what the weight program that you're currently in sort of looks like, in terms of, are you hitting upper body stuff, lower body stuff? How are you breaking it up over the course of a few days?
Yes, sir. Well, right now is everything's about just volume right now because like when you do the 225, my trainer was telling me it's a 45-second lift. Like it's really as many as you can get in 45 seconds because that's how when most people tap out. So we're doing like a lot of volume lifts. Like we'll do like pyramid where you like drop set weight, or we'll do like power cleans just for explosion. But we're doing a lot of explosive movements. It's not really like strength movements. You know what I mean? Like we're not just in there squatting 1,000 pounds and just to say we squat 1,000 pounds. We're doing like something like jumps with it. You know?
Yeah, like
And
there's a
every
purpose. Oh, go
yes sir,
ahead.
and everything is supersetted.
Yeah, so like there's a purpose behind like your workouts and everything, right? Is this the
Yes
first
sir.
time you've done two-a-days, or were you doing two-a-days in college as well, where it was like, all right, we're gonna lift in the morning, go to practice, go to class, and come back lift in the afternoon?
This is actually my first time doing 2 days. I've never had a trainer before. This is my first time with the trainer actually. So yeah.
So it's been like an interesting experience, I'm sure, right? Did you get
Oh,
in
for sure.
contact with the trainer through Cole and Curtis McClendon?
Well, the trainer I'm with right now, nah, I got in contact with him because he trained a bunch of the guys when I was coming up. Like Ty Beck was one of the guys he trained. He trained like a bunch of our older guys when I was in Chattanooga. So it was like it kind of was like inherited, I guess. Like I was next up.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, before we get out of here, where can people follow you in the world of social media and kind of keep up with your work?
You can follow me on Instagram at Bo Spearman 15. You can follow me on Twitter at Bo Spearman 3. I think that's all of them.
I mean, hey, thank you so much for hopping on. You know, best of luck to you. Keep in touch if you need anything. All I'm saying is if you end up in Chicago, because you said that you're not the healthiest eater on the planet, I mean, I got a couple spots for you that we'll have to go to once you get settled and everything.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And thanks again. You know, keep in touch if you need something.
Yes, sir. Thank you.